Let's have an intelligent conversation about Elon Musk, DOGE, Tesla protests, and male comedians with huge audiences who've been accused of cozying up too much to the right.
So this is like a kind of situation where, like, yes, I understand that he's antagonizing people. He's like rubbing people the wrong way. You don't like the guy. You don't like the beliefs. You don't like what he's doing. And there are things to criticize. I'm not saying there aren't things to criticize. Like nobody's above criticism. But to punish that car company that is 100% made in America, made by people living in America, Americans rely on those jobs. Like, maybe we criticize another thing.
Right.
So these are two of the biggest comedians right now. It's Theo Vaughn, who, how do I describe him? Like, he may be the best at saying random words funny, but he's definitely smarter than he lets on. And Andrew Schulz is great if you want all the big dick energy of Pete Davidson without any of the likability. And he grew a mustache because you could either be hot or funny, and he picked funny.
Like, what is your goal? That we shut down those factories and those Americans lose those jobs? That makes you feel better about your gripe with Elon?
That's the thing. Some people, they just want to win an argument, it feels like, you know.
And they don't realize there's people that rely on those jobs.
Oh, for sure, dude.
They got kids, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
oh, dude, there's no doubt about it.
Now, I don't want to put any words in Theo and Andrew's mouth, but there's a lot of their fans who are like, yeah, how come you're being so mean to Tesla just because of what their CEO did? Anyhow, are you guys still down for my boycott of Bud Light, Target, Disney, Starbucks, Coca-Cola, Ben & Jerry's, the MLB, the NBA, the WNBA, the Costco, the Dunkin' Donuts, the Netflix, and basically anyone else who doesn't blow Elon Musk? I've never before seen such fierce, irrational loyalty to a brand and its billionaire CEO. Now, you might say it's weird that left-wingers are against an electric car company, but the truth is, like, very few people are actually lighting these things on fire, which I don't support and is frankly unnecessary. According to all these news reports, they will eventually be on fire all on their own. Also, you realize this whole thing is still a net positive for electric cars. I mean, we're just gonna buy electric cars from other brands, and we added all you MAGA folks who used to buy fossil fuel burning cars who are now buying Teslas so you can somehow metaphorically be inside Elon. And also, Elon gets a ton of his stuff from China. Even Donald Trump admitted that Elon might be susceptible to some corruption because of his ties to China.
I certainly wouldn't want, Elon has businesses in China, and he would be susceptible perhaps to that.
But at least I see some logic in Schultz's point. Wouldn't you want to protect American car companies? But I just think there's a blind spot in all of that. Protesting Tesla is exerting pressure on someone with severe government influence and someone who is using that influence to fire thousands of American workers. You're just deciding you believe Elon when he says that he's rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse. And you end up simping for a guy who, according to PolitiFact, was absolutely false when he said that DOGE subcommittee discovered $2.7 trillion in improper Medicaid and Medicare payments to people overseas. Now, there's another thing that we really need to talk about, and it's the format of these podcasts. Now, a lot of the time, yes, it is two stoner comedians sitting around and talking to each other, man. But there is a huge audience for the other kind of stuff that they do on these shows, which is having a stoner comedian sit down with like an expert who's like about to blow your mind, telling you about something you didn't know about that they're like keeping from you, man. Yeah. Now, why are these shows so popular? Because they're not like what I'm doing. What I'm doing is something that's popular with a big audience of people who need a pundit to break stuff down for you and essentially tell you how to think and how your opinion that you had going into this video was correct all along. Many audiences find that too already biased and, frankly, condescending. And I've known myself a very long time. I know that's how I come off. It's terrible. But the other format, which is essentially a lay person and an expert, seems more approachable, and everyone's learning stuff along with the host. But here's my problem with that. If the host is an idiot, you're not really learning anything. It's just a brainwashing session, or it's actually more like an infomercial. You got an idiot host who's like, I don't know how any of this works. And then this biased expert comes in and is like, well, I'll show you how to fix it. Here's some little known facts that you'll only get from me to make your life better. And even if it's a dumbass idea, the host is like, yes, I buy it. We all should buy it. And suddenly everybody has measles again.
This DOGE is a big deal, right? Even though there's no American that wants like waste, there's no American that wants like government bloat. There's no American that wants like inefficiency. I don't think any of us are like voting for those three things.
Yeah.
So this should be like unilateral support. Like we should all get behind it. And maybe the way that they're doing, I think Trump even came out and be like, yo, we're going to use a scalpel, not a hatchet. Like I think we're being a little bit too forceful with the firings or whatever. But this is one of those things where like it's so annoying. And I think you can blame Elon for this as well. Like on Twitter, he's a little bit antagonistic about
I noticed that recently. Some of the stuff he says, like, do you have to say that?
What if I told you that the change in Trump is because we're acting this way toward him? Because we pointed out how wrong Elon is about this stuff. Like, he was wrong when he said that there were a bunch of 150-year-olds still getting Social Security. That was false. Or that he made an $8 billion mistake immediately after starting the where he was flexing about saving us $8 billion on something when really he found an $8 million contract. And maybe the reason that we're so upset with him is because we were kind of right about the dude. People think he's like this awesome super genius, but he's just full of himself. And that unhinged lack of humility led to this heartbreaking story as recounted by a senator in a Social Security confirmation hearing today.
Basically, you're allowing Elon Musk's little DOGE team to go in there and to find fraud. So did they find a dead person in Seattle that was getting Social Security? Yes. Here's the article from the Seattle newspaper by Danny Westney. Oh, wait a minute. He wasn't dead. So not only did my constituent not get his payment in February, they went to his bank account and tried to claw back previous payments from January and December. And then what did he do? He had to go down to the building in Seattle, the federal building that you're trying to close, and stand in line for hours and hours and hours to try to say he wasn't dead and to stop taking his money. So I have to ask you, why are we allowing these people to go in and cause havoc to our constituents instead of hiring people to do the job?
This is heartbreaking, but maybe I'm overreacting. I mean, Elon did say that he would make some mistakes.
Some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected. So nobody's going to bat 1,000. I mean, we will make mistakes.
And like the startup culture, tech bro, break it, then fix it community is like, yeah, that makes sense. But let me ask you, would you feel awesome if the surgeon showed up before your surgery and was like, I never did this before, and I'm going to up. But I have hired people who've made rockets and cars, so please find this charming about me. You probably wouldn't be too excited about that. And reminder, he's only saying that in the White House because he messed up and thought he was right until we called him out for being wrong and costing people their livelihoods. I don't think a lot of these high-profile comedians are like horrible actors. I think some of them are misguided. I think some of them are angry that like so many people, amplified by social media, think that their job is to tell comedians what is not funny rather than just not laugh. Many comedians have said they don't cross the line on purpose. They just don't know where it is until they've crossed it. And then the next show, they're not going to cross it that way, or they'll find a better way to do it. You don't got to tell them they did it wrong. They know when the audience turned against them. And I think the key in this situation is to keep encouraging them to have our side of the aisle's voice on their shows. Like, to his credit, Theo Von did when he had Hasanabe on his show wearing Family Mart socks from Japan. And Theo seems to at least listen
to somebody that at least they're saying that they're going to audit the government. Like, why do we even have to audit our own government?
Well, we have, see, that's the problem. We already have an auditing agency. So these guys unironically created an additional agency, which is redundant, to eliminate redundancy. And
that's interesting.
So in summary, I think we all have to continue to have this conversation and not just declare someone an evil villain, especially when they are a comedian. If you're yelling at a comedian, you're probably the asshole. I think the comedians need to actually keep an open mind if they're going to kind of tread into this land of being thought leaders by proxy. I think everybody needs to stay humble in this scenario, myself included. And what does matter is this. These guys who are drifting to the right, they need someone on the left in the room, not to agree with them, but to drag the conversation back to reality before it floats off into some libertarian fantasy world. That said, we can all agree on one thing: what we'd all do if we were rich.
Dude, if I'm Elon Musk, I'm definitely getting a crazy. I'm getting a fucking designer. I'm getting a
No, that's what they're.
two-seater. I'll get a damn three-seater car.
Yeah, they're saying.
I'll put suicide doors on my dude if I'm Elon Musk.
Anyhow, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Yeah.